Here we go. Make sure it's going live.
I've got it pulled up here as well.
Are you seeing it yet? Yep.
There it is.
Beautiful. Okay.
No one hears that song, bro. We're live.
They don't hear it?
Jam.
They're just watching me jam. I was dancing.
Yeah.
I was
I'm
dancing.
like waiting for you to introduce us, and you're just like, all right.
This is how we begin. It's a ceremony. Every show begins with everyone just silently moving around for a while. Well, welcome to the VR Chatting Pregame Hour, number 2, with my guest, the brilliant fellow VR content creator, friend, BHaptics community manager, the man himself, Alex VR. How you doing?
Dude, hello. What's up? Fucking Andy Obscure Nerd. Thank you so much for having me. This is awesome. I'm excited to hang out.
Dude, I'm excited to hang out too. We've got beautiful people here. The audio should be good, right? If we have audio issues like last time, let me know. This is what I'm known for. Audio troubleshooting.
issues?
Yep. I'm going to be the audio troubleshooter of the VR podcast industry. It's going to be big.
I mean, dude, you're gonna have to try pretty hard to mess up harder than Skiva does on our show sometimes, because he's constantly just ruining everything,
Yeah. Tell me about the biggest screw up here.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great?
So,
we come here to talk
elaborate on
shit.
what Skiva sucks.
This is the topic of today. No, we love Skiva. We love Skiva.
He's amazing.
Shout out
He's
also.
amazing. So,
shout out to Between Realities, your podcast with Skiva. I forgot to include that.
yeah, I was just gonna say, if for the uninitiated, Between Realities is a podcast that I do with my friend Skiva, and he is like a mastermind when it comes to like changing through scenes, making sure everything's all going. And yeah, we have made a handful of mistakes from time to time, but it's all part of the process.
That's gonna happen when you're doing the high end stuff. Look, you guys have a spaceship on yours. I've got all I have is a sheet on the wall.
I mean,
which is good.
It is nice though.
That's why I broke
like
out the Charizard. I was like, I gotta live up to somehow,
Yeah, yeah, that's good. You better, yeah, that's important to keep that just like on full display as often as possible. I'm pretty sure.
Put it out there.
Do you own anything that is of higher like clout than that?
Nope, it's this Charizard and my Versace shirt. Those are the most valuable things I own.
Dude, the Charizard is that's a highly coveted item, man. Like I remember, like I had friends that would like lie to me about seeing Charizards and stuff like that.
Oh
like,
yeah,
yeah, man. I saw one laying on the sidewalk when I was driving. I'm like, man, no, you didn't. Why are you trying to convince me of that?
we need proof. I got this in a pack, and someone tried to beat me up for it. They were like looking at me open it, and I opened it, and they were like, "Oh, a Charizard!" And it was like when what's his name got the golden ticket in Willy Wonka. I just had to like run through the streets, waving it above me. People were like, "He's got the Charizard! Everyone get him!"
Dude, it's amazing. I hope you keep it. Like, it doesn't matter what people offer you, man.
I thought
like,
about
that thing is like
it's
got
tough.
like magical properties.
Yep, we'll show it to the camera real quick. This is the VR podcast where we talk about Charizards. Shout out to the chat here. We've got Robin's Reality, German Rifter, RCLC3 seems fine to me. The audio's good. Hell yeah, organizers, welcome everybody.
Thank you guys for coming,
Alex. So I like to get a good baseline. I know you're deep into the VR industry, deeper than most, and I like to get a baseline on where people are at. What are your thoughts on VR chat?
I think it's cool.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good. You're one of the good ones.
Thanks. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I am all about expression. Actually, yesterday we talked quite a bit on Between Realities about expression and identity and like what it means to present yourself online and whether or not you have an obligation to have that version of you reflect who you are in the real world.
Yeah.
And it's a very interesting topic. Very interesting topic because, a lot of times VR is the opportunity to do just that, right? Like to go into a safe space, express yourself in a way that maybe you typically would not be, I don't know, looked well upon by doing in a public setting or something, but you can go into something like VR chat,
Yeah.
embody something completely new and different, and your energy changes when you look in the mirror and you see yourself looking like something completely different, and that's, if that's something that you're interested in, like, I think virtual reality is the best place in the world to explore and experiment with who you are, and what it means to be you and how you
Oh
express
yeah.
yourself.
Yeah, VR chat is like the ultimate form of self-expression in VR, I think. It's like that.
It's up there.
It's like the log line for the game now. I feel like, which wasn't at first. I thought that was interesting. Was seeing it transition from being like a social app to like an expression app, where it was more about the avatars and the tracking and what you can do with that, as opposed to just being about hanging out in virtual bars and talking to British people.
hmm And a lot of people go into social VR without others. Like they log
Hmm.
into social VR and they don't know anyone, and they like start walking around and introducing themselves to people and like talking to people. And I feel like often that's like the experience that like people think of when they think about going into something like VR chat, but those are not mutually exclusive. Like you
Yeah,
can go into VR chat with people, which is the way I usually go about doing it.
same here.
Anytime I go into social VR, I'm like, hey, you, and you, meet me in there. Let's go. And that is amazing in every social platform.
Yeah, it's almost like the virtual form of bar hopping, where you and your friends are just like
Totally.
can go from place to place and be like, okay, we've had it with this world, like this was cool. Let's go see what's going on in the dojo or whatever.
100%. And I mean, I am excited for multiplayer VR gaming in general to have that vibe, right? Like
Exactly. Yeah.
we jump into Beat Saber for a couple songs, then we rock out on some Population 1 really quick, then we jump into VR chat to cool down and, bullshit about what just happened or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Honestly though, I'm
Yeah.
really hoping that the focus shifts a little bit off of VR chat and onto something like Neos VR,
Yeah, I
because
agree.
Neos is fucking amazing. Dude, Neos
Yeah, tell
blows
me a
my
little bit
mind
about what
every time I go in there.
stands out about Neos, because I've been looking at it a little bit, but I don't really know much about it yet, about what they have going on.
Dude, Neos is sick. It is so much fun. And again, it's like you have to like I don't say you have to, but it helps, at least in my experience, to
Hmm.
go in there with a plan and like know some people. Like I don't go into Neos without telling somebody I'm not coming. I'm coming.
Yeah,
Like I'll hit up people who I know that are in there. I'm like, hey, guess what? I really want to come in. I want to have a great time. Like, are you guys around? When can you be on? Like I'll organize something.
make it an event.
And
Yeah.
totally. And when you go in there and like people are coming together, Neos is the most fun you can have in a social, like a strictly social VR platform, because while
Wow.
you're in there, you have access to like coding of the program itself, and people are like
Hmm.
making shit on the fly right then and there and like handing it to you, and you'd be like, oh, this shotgun's cool, but it doesn't cock and reload. And he's
Oh,
like,
that's
one
so
second,
sweet.
takes it back, boom, adds like a cock and reload function to it, hands it back to you. Oh my god, holy shit, now it does. Now I can shoot you with it. Oh, let's add some
Wow.
knockback to that projectile. They add some knockback to that. Now he like launches you off the goddamn platform.
Yeah,
Like
like communal
super
development in
crazy.
real time. That's wild.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, it is so epic, and the options are like absolutely limitless. You can fuck around with scale and be like a super huge monster giant above everyone, or you can be super super
That
super
would be
tiny
me.
on the map. People crawling all around you. You can add haptics to anything with the BHaptics Fest. You can add
Ooh,
haptics to all objects and items, and like we can turn a machine gun into a big like haptic
that sounds
blasting
amazing.
thing.
So
Dude, it
how
is
does
so
the
crazy.
haptics feel? This is something I want to talk to you about because I haven't gotten a chance to use it yet, and I really want to. How does it feel with like weapons specifically? Because I feel like one of the first things I would hop into is something like Pavlov or something like that.
Um, well, getting shot by weapons,
Yeah, yeah. Well, let's go with shot. We'll go through the whole
right?
field of experience. We'll go getting shot
Right.
to shooting.
So when you're getting shot, it's frankly, all of the haptic stuff is kind of like controller haptics, but being put on the specific parts of the body and then arranged into patterns, right?
Hmm.
So everybody's familiar with controller haptics. I mean, if they were to stop working in your game while you were playing, it would feel numb and weird. You'd be like, oh god, what the fuck, like this is this
Yeah.
doesn't feel right, you know? Like if I've had haptics stop working in Beat Saber,
Yeah.
and it's like,
It would
it's
feel
like
like your muscles were like aligned to the wrong place on your body.
yeah, dude, it is weird. So we really do rely on haptics to connect us to the virtual world while we're in there.
Hmm.
And it's like being able to take the controller haptic and arrange like a pattern of motions on your chest or a pattern on your back. So
Oh, okay. I see.
you can do individual patterns for individual incoming like triggers, right? So if I'm shooting with like a sniper rifle, it can be like a big like maybe just like the pattern would be like a square right here, right?
Hmm.
And it'll like vibrate for a second. It's like taking the
That's
controller
so
and
interesting.
putting it here.
Yeah.
But like an
And
explosion, you can
defining the
start it on
force
the
too.
inside and then making the pattern go from here to here to here to here and then play it out like a movie. It's like and like
Yeah.
ripples outward, you know?
Like an
And
animated haptic event. That's
yes,
cool.
totally. Yep, totally. So it's awesome. It's great for like first person shooters, especially when you have the arm pieces because it adds a lot of recoil to the weapons, which
Yeah,
like
see, that's what I want to try
really
out.
makes it
I need
intense.
to feel that recoil. That's what we're
Yeah,
here
yeah,
for.
it makes it really intense for sure. And especially when the implementation is done right. You know, like there are simple implementations where you're like, when you pull a trigger, this happens, you know, and then that just like goes
Yeah.
across the board.
So, do you
But
have
you
like
spend
an
a little bit of
internal
extra
team
time.
that's developing the implementations, or is it usually like would it be like the game developer, or does it vary from, game to game?
So it's actually a combination of both. We have an internal team, and I'm a part of that team actually that
Hmm.
works on the haptic patterns and the implementations of the game. This is actually something that is new for me at BHaptics, and this is probably the first time I've actually even talked about it.
This is an
Um,
exclusive, everybody.
yeah, this is an exclusive, but I'm now designing haptic patterns for the implementations. Like I
That's
play the
cool.
game, I feel it out. I'm like, okay, what needs to happen and where? And I like record it, and then I'll pull it over to the computer, run through there, design the haptic patterns for the different things that happen, put it to a
Hmm.
folder, and then I can present that to the developer and be like, here's all the patterns. You know, you can change it if you want to, but this should work. So just
Yeah,
go ahead and plug it in, and they just plug it in there like subtitles in a movie or something. You know.
that's awesome. Yeah, sort of like
Mm-hmm.
localizing it.
Yeah, but the developers also, most of them have taken a very hands-on approach with it and have done the implementations themselves. And those are some of the best ones because the developers are on board. They see
Yeah, I imagine if they're
the
like
value.
leaning into, yeah, because if I was a developer, I would want as much support for as many different VR applications as possible because you just want to be able to say, hey, we work with everything. And so
Yeah,
we can accommodate whatever type of VR experience you prefer.
yeah, but a lot of developers have very tight timelines, dude. They're like
Oh
so
yeah.
much that they need to work on, and they're like, working on bugs and stuff, and they're
Yeah.
like, do we want to dedicate resources to this when only a small portion of our audience is able to take advantage of it? So it can sometimes be, um, sometimes they're like they just don't have time, But that's
Yep.
when us coming along and being like, okay, here's the implementation, like just put it in, like
Yeah.
it'll only
Run with
take
it.
a little bit of time, so
That's
we're
that's the
doing
way
our
you should
best.
be. Yeah. I think that's a good way of doing that sort of business, especially is being like, hey, we can already show you the value in this. You just have to, accept that.
Yes.
Rec Room and VR Chat. Delirium Drew says Rec Room and VR Chat also great. Yeah, Rec Room was like the very first VR experience I tried out, I think. Um,
It was not my very first, but it was my first multiplayer VR experience
yeah, yeah, I feel because what that must have been a launch title, right? Like or close to it on the
of
Vive.
launch of. Oh, I actually don't know. I don't know when it came out. I don't think so. I don't think it had anything to
Yeah, I
do.
can't remember when I got that now. I picked up my first Vive in beginning of 2017, I think. And now that I think of it, the first game I played on it was actually the Google Pixel or the Google Paint app.
Mm. That was your first VR thing ever, was
Yeah,
Google Paint?
Google Paint, and I was
Nice.
excited for it. That's how you know it's come a long way. Is I was like, I can't wait till the Google Paint comes out.
Dude, I mean, being in VR period is fucking awesome. We're lucky that there's so many cool things for us to do in there now.
Oh yeah, shout out Rendered Reality. What's going on, Stick Pal?
Yo,
This
what's up?
is what's going on. Thomas McNostril. That's a fun name. I like that. I need a Mick in my name. That's why I'm missing. I could be obscure McNerd. Oh no, that.
Obscure McNerd. Who was that guy that you met in VR chat with the Mick name?
Oh man, McBingus or something. Yeah, so the whole concept of that video, I was like, I'm just gonna go to random VR chat rooms. This is one of my favorite. This is actually why I got VR. Um, hey, thanks, McNostril. This is why I got VR at first, was I wanted to for like improv comedy. Because I saw that you could just go in VR chat and just riff off of people, and people in VR chat love just kind of having crazy conversations. And so I would just do these videos where I would just go in, start talking to somebody, and just see where they take it. And that McBims guy, he got really upset because I wanted him to say that he liked Steven Seagal, which he
Well,
didn't.
and also he got triggered because you called him like
Oh
McNasty or
yeah,
whatever his
yeah.
name was.
I think I said old McBims.
And he was like, no, it's MC Bims or something like that. But he had M and then the lowercase c, which is totally mixed. So like
Right?
you almost revealed to him like how badly he fucked up when he like made his name. And I imagine
Oh,
he probably got filled with all kinds of anger, and then he had to lash out at you in a way that you absolutely did not deserve.
I'm helping him grow. I'm glad you saw that. That's right. He
Yeah.
did say MC Bims, which would be the capital MC.
Yeah, you gotta have both capital C, bro. Otherwise, it's McBibs, and you're setting yourself up for a world of people thinking that you're Irish, or is that it right? Irish,
Yeah,
Mc,
Irish, Irish or a
mixed,
farmer.
or a farmer. Yeah, one of the two.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay, tell me what you know about this, because I know nothing. I just started reading about this Oculus Quest Pro. Have you been reading about
mm,
this?
no.
The only thing that they've really announced, it seems like, is a couple of the features. But what I'm excited for is built-in facial tracking. I'm interested to see what people start doing with that.
Smiling and frowning
Smiling,
and
frowning.
sticking their tongue out.
I'm hoping it's useful for the VR comedy shows. I could do tons of things with my
Oh,
tongue.
okay. Ooh. Hey.
You know.
Well, that sounds, yeah, I guess that would probably help in any kind of social situation. Being able to see their mouth move for real as they're speaking would probably close the gap, so to speak, between us, right? Like
Yeah.
remove some of the miles if you pick up my drift,
Oh, I
catch
pick it
my
up.
drift,
I'm catching.
pick that up,
Where is
catching
it?
and picking.
Where is it? Is it next to the Charizard? I'm required to point it out 4 times a podcast.
Yeah, dude, I don't blame you. Like it's gonna take you far in this game if you just keep that thing around.
Oh yeah.
Rendered Reality said that Sean, of course, just said that he just got out of Demio and he beat it with some randoms.
Oh, we gotta hop in that
Um,
after this, by the way.
yeah, dude, I'm so stoked about that game, and one of the things I'm so stoked about is just how stoked everyone else is. Like normally I like this kind of
Yeah.
shit, but like it's kind of just me, and like maybe like one homie who I can convince to play with me for a little while. But like I nerd out on these kinds of games, and I can go hard. Like I
See,
can turn
that's
this
what I
into a
need.
lifestyle for a couple months.
I need you to be my shepherd into the Demio universe because I love
Come
these
with
kinds
me.
of games, but if I enter alone, I get overwhelmed.
I mean, I get bored if I enter alone.
Yeah, that too.
Like if for me, it's all about connecting with people. Like that's like, here's the thing. And if you're one of the people who like doesn't really connect with like sword and shield and magic and dragons and all that
Hmm.
stuff, here's the thing. And maybe this can give you a reason to try some of these things. It's not really about the dragons and the swords and the shields, right? Like that universe just makes such a beautiful canvas for the level of like interconnectivity and team play that can take place in those kinds of games, right? Like
Yeah.
it's when you're connected into a game like that and you're thinking about what your next move should be and like how you can not fuck this up for your team or how you can best utilize your own unique skills to
Yeah.
help us accomplish a goal. Up here the gears are like like turning and like,
Yeah,
oh, it
it's
feels
like a
so good.
mind sport.
It's yes, dude. And I love Demio because it's so chill, right? Like I can just lounge in bed and I'm just like relaxing in VR. But while at the same time up here, I'm like bam, 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 bam. I'm like, oh man, oh, I better not mess this up.
Yeah.
Okay, if I just land on this space, I can pick up the gold and attack him, and that'll save everybody a turn, and that'll help. Like I'm like
Yep.
thinking, so it's not about the shield. It's about the fact that you can protect your friends. It's not about the bow and arrow. It's about the fact that
I
you can
like that
perform something
approach.
from long range that someone else cannot. And
Yeah, seeing where
before
you fit
long,
in the
right,
the big picture of it.
right. It's just a canvas, right? Like it's not about all like I don't like love swords and shields. I mean, okay, maybe I do a little bit,
I
but
do.
like,
I love swords.
the reason I do is because it's the canvas for the level of connectivity and like function that happens in these kinds of games. And I love that. I love connecting with
Hmm.
friends. I love accomplishing goals as a team. I love having my own unique approach and my own unique thing that I can bring to the table to allow us all to get shit done. And that's what these games accomplish.
Man, that's the most beautiful testimonial I've ever heard for Demio.
And games like it.
And
And
games
games
like
like it.
yeah, because we do need more
MMORPGs,
games in that
tabletop.
style, especially for VR. Tabletop
Yep.
games, especially. I think that's the great untapped potential of VR. Because like after Virtual Tabletop Simulator, everyone just sort of accepted that that was the tabletop thing for a while. I feel like, but yeah, I hope Demio starts showing more developers that there's like a lot of room, especially like imagine like Warhammer 40K tabletop like in VR with where it's sort of a mesh of tabletop and animation. There's so many
Mm-hmm.
cool things you could do with like old classics.
Mm-hmm. Aspen Darkfire, a good friend of ours, and actually the guest on Between Realities yesterday, uh, we were talking about Demio, and he made such a good point about it. And he said that, and he might have even been paraphrasing Mateo 311. This is all just a huge
Hmm.
echo chamber at this point,
It's
but
going the word's going around the circle.
we are. But this is such a good point. And he said that like when you play like an online game, multiplayer game, maybe something like Diablo or World of Warcraft or something, it's so fast and there's so much happening and everyone's focused on what they're doing that
Hmm.
we all miss so much of like what's happening in the battle. Like you might get a huge nasty crit and like kill something that was approaching us from behind, but everyone's so busy no one saw it, and you're like, dude, oh my god, I just saved us. Like, did anybody see that? And like,
Yeah.
no, I was doing my chain lightning. Like everyone's busy, but in a game like this it slows it down and like everyone sees everything that's happening.
Oh,
So
see,
when you
that's
roll that
perfect for a
dice and you
game.
hit that crit, you're like, the whole team is celebrating with you. We're like, yes, dude, you did it. And there's like, it really
Yeah.
gives you an opportunity to like soak up the whole thing that's happening. And it's way faster than anything that happens on a traditional table, right? Because like the game is just like moving stuff
Yeah,
along,
and it's nice that the game has obviously a built-in code and infrastructure to keep it moving. Whereas
Totally.
that's my number one issue with real tabletop games is that it's always like an hour in, and everyone stops giving a shit, and everyone's like, okay, like we're forgetting whose turn it is and all this.
Right.
So it even
Right.
improves it in that aspect.
And it does. And that said, Demio still takes a while, like 2 hours. You're going to be in there for 2 hours, and that is
Okay.
a good chunk of time, like it's still not something you can just like take a bite of, like you got
Yeah,
to get in there,
which is good though.
stay in there. I think
We
so.
see German Rifter said Demio mods and Quest Editor would be awesome. Yeah, Quest Editor would be perfect for that kind of game. I mean, that's like built for it.
Yeah. I mean, because I would personally like to see the pace maybe pick up just a little bit,
Hmm.
because ultimately this is a tabletop game, but it's for video gamers, right? Like it's a video game tabletop game, like love baby.
Yeah,
And I
you can quote
personally
him on
do
that.
love, yeah, I do love stuff like Diablo and World of Warcraft, but those are really fast, right? Like I do
Hmm.
understand how quickly things are happening, and before you know it, it's just like you're playing Diablo. You just run into a room, everything blows up. You run into a new room,
Yep.
everything blows up, and it's just kind of like rinse and repeat. So I do think that I would like to see something happen that's kind of even in the middle, a little bit of Demio and like Diablo, like
Yeah,
slow it
I
down
see
a
that.
little bit, but pick it up just a little bit more.
Yeah,
Not to say that
let
I
it
don't love
breathe, but
Demio, I
keep
do.
it moving. Yeah,
Totally, totally.
you heard it here first. Alex hates Demio.
Yeah, go make a game I'll actually like, please.
Yeah,
Thank
it was a good start.
you.
Let me get the Charizard back in there. Yeah, I'm really excited. I just got it installed, so I'm super excited to hop in. I've been
We
watching a
should
lot of
do it
videos on it.
like right away. We should like jump in
Yeah,
there after this or something.
yeah, we should. Uno. Someone said Uno. It is on Tabletop Simulator, but I want a dedicated Uno VR game. I agree, rendered reality. Imagine
You
that.
want one where like when it reverses, like it just like flips your reality
Yeah,
and
I
like
want face tracking, so when I hit somebody with the reverse Uno card, I can see the awe in their face.
the jaws
Yeah,
dropping across the table.
everyone's
Yeah.
face just blows up. That's the Uno we need.
What about cards and tankards? Did you install that one?
I haven't installed it yet. I'll install it today. Tell me about
That's
that one.
cool. Cards and tankards, it's a tabletop game, right? It's social,
Hmm.
right? And it's like a combination of Magic the Gathering and Hearthstone.
Okay.
Hearthstone is the Blizzard
Yeah,
trading card game.
Hearthstone is like they should just do a VR version of Hearthstone at some point too.
That's basically what this is, but it just has a few more Magic the Gathering mechanics that don't exist in
Hmm.
Hearthstone, especially when it comes to like just some of the battle phases and things like that. But either way, it's a great, fun inside VR tabletop card game that really has an awesome social experience because they're like lobbies online and they're all taverns, and you like pick a
Ooh,
tavern, you go in there and people are like sitting around at table like playing games just like in a card shop, and you
that's
can like
cool.
come up and look over their shoulder and like see the cards that are in their hand and look at the board and see what's happening,
Yeah,
it's
peek
pretty
in on
cool.
on where they're at in their game. That's such a
Hmm.
cool way to do
I
it.
could just I could just reveal my hand to you if we were playing against each other. Like I'm just sitting here, I'm looking at
You
my
see,
cards
we
and be like,
need
look,
that. I
you're
like it
fucked.
when it's realistic to a point where like, yeah, yeah, where like most games they would design it so it's just it breaks away or doesn't show you whatever and it breaks that reality. But I like when the VR is like, no, if you want to show everyone your hand, you can.
Yeah, go for
We
it.
don't. That's your prerogative.
Yeah, we need we can do that, right? But a lot of times newcomers to VR, their experiences really need to be catered and
Fine tuned.
refined.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
get that. My buddy Stephen Briggs, who was on the last episode, his first experience in VR was performing at the VR Comedy Club, and I was like, I should have shown him at least how to walk around first, because he puts the
Right.
headset on, and the first thing he sees is that he's on stage and there's the audience there, and I was like, oh, I can't. I forgot to think about the fact that that's like literally the first thing he's gonna see in VR is like people watching him.
Mm, wow. Oh, wow.
But
That's
he
like
still
walking
killed
into
it.
a new
But
portal for sure.
yeah, like yeah, you step through a room and all of a sudden you're in a new reality and you're performing on a stage in front of people. And you're like, all right.
Wow.
It made it funny
Damn.
though, because when he finished, he didn't know how to leave. He just stayed there. And they had to like ban him from the room so he would leave.
I'm definitely at a point where like I mean I'm pretty good at onboarding people in VR, okay? Like I think about a
You seem
lot
like a
of
great
that
like spiritual shepherd into the virtual universe.
I thank you. I would say that I probably am. I pride myself on my ability to remember some of those important details, right? But
Yeah.
there are some things that slip through the cracks. And like my wife, she's played a lot of Beat Saber. She's done a good amount of VR, but not a lot. But she's certainly played a bunch of Beat Saber.
Hmm.
I've been trying to convince her to play Demio because I think she'll be able to like that. It's
Yeah.
a good team game and it's chill.
Yeah, it's not too
And I got her
intense.
into it last night and I was like, okay, so now you just grab the earth, like grab the air and pull yourself through the space, And she
Yep.
does, she's like, whoa, okay, whole fuck, she like
One
got
second.
nauseous pretty fast. And I'm like, oh
Hmm.
shit, like this is a pretty comfortable app, like I'm just like spinning around and zooming all the way in and getting in
Yep.
and zooming out again. But she was like, yo, guys, I gotta like, I can't do this for much longer, and it's like, damn, like I forgot some people, like really need to warm up to
Yeah, I never
moving
even
around
think
through
about
VR
that
space.
anymore.
Yeah, it's important to remember that like motion sickness for newcomers especially is a big deal. But she's played a
Oh
bunch of
yeah.
Beat Saber, but that's different than moving through space, right?
Yeah, well, like imagine if you're have you ever played Stride, the
Have I
parkour
played
VR game?
Stride? I don't think I have.
Oh, see, that was one. That's one of the few games where, like, immediately jumping in, I could see it being super intense. Because you're moving on a rail, and it's sort of, I could see it very easily feeling like the world is moving under you, and you're staying still for someone new,
Hmm.
and that just being like a total equilibrium destroyer.
And dude, so many people's inclination is to put someone into a goddamn roller coaster for their first
Yep.
VR experience.
Which
Like,
is the most
why?
nauseating.
Why do you think that that is the go-to, right? Like, why is that everyone's first think? Like,
Yeah.
hey, here's a box that will let you experience anything in the universe. What would you like to do? Roller coaster would be at the top of that list if you surveyed 1,000 people.
I
Like,
don't
what
even
the
go to
fuck
roller
is that?
coasters in real life. I don't need it in VR.
I love roller coasters in
I
real
do
life,
actually
dude.
like. So this new place I'm moving is right next to Universal Studios, and I'm thinking about just getting
Fuck
a
yeah.
year-round pass there because I've never
Do
been.
you do it? Do it. Theme parks are so sick. I haven't been to Universal. I haven't been to that place,
Yeah.
but all the theme parks I've been to, I've loved. It's such a good time.
Yeah, I think it was because I was raised next to the Six Flags in Chicago. And when you have like the world, like the biggest, we had like the biggest wooden roller coaster in the country for a long time. So when you were raised next to that, it was hard to see other amusement parks and be into it.
Right.
I got
Yeah, I can
spoiled.
see that. Yeah, I really love Disneyland. To me, that's almost like putting on a fucking VR headset.
Oh
Like
yeah.
you walk through the gates and like all of a sudden the streets are shining and like there's characters walking around waving at you and out of nowhere a trombone pushes you out of the way
Yeah.
because this guy's like,
Do they
pushing his
have they gone
so
into VR
crazy.
experiences yet? I feel like Disney would be like I mean for like Disney like land experiences, that would be perfect for it. Of like check out a preview of the new ride in VR.
I think Disney has only scratched the surface of VR. They've done The Void. They've done some Marvel
Yeah,
stuff
they
and they
did the
did
Star
Wreck-It Ralph at
Wars,
The Void.
right?
And then they did that Frozen short that came out on the Quest. That was like
Yeah,
$5 for like a 4 minute
that's why I
like
didn't get it.
little video. I got it because my wife is a huge Disney fan, and that would just be something that'd be easy to put her into
Yeah,
to
how was it?
experience. So she really likes it actually. A lot of reviews kind of tore it up, but she, as a Disney fan and as a Frozen fan, really enjoyed it and like has friends over sometimes. It's like, oh my gosh, I have this Frozen thing. You got to see it. So I
Hmm.
would say it was worth the price for like someone who, you know, has like a kid or a lady friend or a boyfriend who
Oh
loves
yeah, I'm sure
Disney and
kids who are into Disney that would blow their mind.
probably, yeah, like things are like running around you and they're like telling a story for a little minute and you're like in the woods and shit. So it
Yeah,
was cool.
I'm into that. I've been doing some of these what are they like the visual I've been doing some of these VR anime visual novels. That's a whole different type of experience.
That's interesting. What
Where
is the name of one?
what's the one I was doing the other day? It's the one that everyone loves. It's about a wolf. This is how knowledgeable I am about it. Well, the big one I
Yeah.
played was Alteus, and then Alteus Beyond Chronos were like the first two that I ever heard of.
Should I
But
do that? I've been like, I think I have that just like on the back burner.
it's an experience. I mean, it's like a pretty much one-to-one recreation of the experience of playing like a visual anime novel, but in VR. Where like the panels that they usually would show you are just like surrounding you, and the text
You're
is
just
still
looking
there.
around at everyone.
Yeah, it's a little weird, but there are a couple of them that do a really good job with the storytelling. Beyond Chronos was one where it's basically like if you're into anime and you want to just like be inside of an anime as it unfolds, that's sort of what it would be.
Or like
Wolves,
inside of a manga.
a manga. Yeah, it's more like being in a manga with slight animated sequences.
Mm, mm. Well, yeah, I guess if you're into it, that's cool. I wish I was more into anime. I've been like waiting for the next anime that I'm just gonna like love and it's
Oh
just
yeah.
gonna blow my mind. I know this isn't anime, but my favorite show ever is Avatar: The Last Airbender,
Ooh, it
and
counts enough. That's a great show.
it is my fucking favorite show of all time. Like I don't care how old you are. Literally, I do not care how old you are. It could easily be your favorite show too. Like it
Oh
is
yeah, it's
amazing.
brilliant.
I love it. But that kind of opened the door for me a little bit, and I was like, okay, I see now kind of what anime could be about. And I knew it wasn't Japanese, and I knew it wasn't exactly anime, but I was like, I'll start checking shit out. And I did. I started watching a few things, and I ended up watching One Punch Man, and I
That's my
loved that.
all-time favorite.
I loved that. I
Yeah.
thought that was so good. but I tried Death Note, couldn't really get started. I tried Full Metal Alchemist, couldn't really get started. I
Yeah.
loved the first season of Sword Art Online, of
The
course,
first
as a
season's
VR.
great. That's where you can
Then it
end
just
it.
like fell off big
You should
time.
watch Log Horizon. That's another good VR one.
That was my question. It's like, so now you know, right? This is my anime history.
Hmm.
Like, where should I go from here if I really want to establish my love for
That's a tough
for
one.
the world?
I mean, if you're into VR, Log Horizon is the best VR anime. It's sort of like Sword Art Online if it didn't go sideways.
That sounds good. I loved Sword Art Online when it was like when I was
Yeah.
guessing and like trying to figure out what was happening and stuff. Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, Sword Art Online was brilliant because of the concept, because it was like really one of the first ones that did the VR concept of, trapped in VR, you're going to die. It's simple, but they did it really well. And then they were stupid that they decided to not have that concept be the whole show. It like ends halfway through and then it just pivots.
Yeah, the thing is, and this is one of the things that it's taken me a long time to kind
Fist
of
of the North, by
understand
the
when
way,
it comes to
Skiva says Fist of the North Star. What's up, Skiva? That's a great one.
what's up, dude? Good to see you, Skeevy boy. Um, yeah, it was I don't even remember what I lost my
Sorry,
train of
I
thought on
cut
it.
you off.
I know.
I got excited by Fist of
Skiva's
the.
presence makes me so excited.
That's what he does. That's what he does. But yeah, I've been big into anime for a while. It's been a love and hate relationship. I've been in and out of it. My Hero Academia, if you're into like the fighting anime, that's a good like easy one
Mm.
to get into.
Oh, I remember what I was thinking now. So the one of the things that's taken me a long time to understand about like TV and like games and all of that shit is like there are like teams working behind these things, and some of the people on those teams really make it what it is. And sometimes those people are no longer a part of the project and shit. Like they
Yep.
lose writers and directors and like people behind the scenes that are like keeping it like good. And when that person leaves and they try to keep the project going without them, that's when some shit just fucking
Oh,
tanks.
it just goes straight down. That's what happened with One Punch Man season two. They changed the animation studios, and everyone was watching it. Was like, this is soulless now. Where did it all go?
That's interesting. I watched both of it seamlessly
Oh
and
yeah,
loved the whole
that's good
thing.
because
Yeah.
I liked season two a lot still, but a lot of people didn't like it because they switched studios and the animation wasn't the same. But
Interesting. Well, I'm gonna have to watch that other one, that VR one. Maybe you'll remind me the name
yeah,
again and
Log
look into
Horizon.
it.
It's a really soothing one. It's about these people just trapped in a VR game, and they're like, let's just live here, and they do.
Cool.
But
And that's it.
they
That's the
do.
show. They
By
just
the way,
they live happily ever after.
I remembered the name of that VR visual novel game, Spice and Wolf VR 2. There's 1 and 2. Those are probably the most complete versions of that in VR, I think. Spice and Wolf.
Sweet, man. Either way, dude, like I really like it when something in VR breaks the mold a little bit, like it's kind of cool like to see people experimenting with different ways of storytelling, different ways of
Oh
providing
yeah.
an immersive experience, other than just like a shooter game, or whatever is like most easily accessible.
Someone said it's a furry sim. It is. That's what you're getting into in VR.
Yeah. Yeah,
This is
VR is
why
just
you
one big
play
furry
it.
thing.
If you're into people with wolf tails, that's the most complete version of that. Um,
There it is.
there it is. And that's a
Actually,
true testimonial.
Neos actually does have a pretty strong furry community.
They've got a robot. I honestly think it's cool that VR has provided a space for pretty much everybody. Like if you get
Yes.
into one of these social apps, you can find a little corner, no matter how no matter what your interests are. Really, there's people gathering and just wanting to talk and hang out about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't really I'm not a member of the furry community or
I'm
similar,
not either.
furries are just one aspect of groups of people who choose to express themselves in different ways, I was one of the kids, like I don't know if you've ever seen any like the Sonic the Hedgehog fan art that exists out there in the world, but
Oh,
that is a great rabbit hole to go down if you ever want to
yeah.
sometime. Sonic the Hedgehog fan art. There's like, young kids who like designed their own characters and shit and like gave them all special moves. And
Hmm.
there's like whole pages with all of it designed and all of that shit. And I was definitely one of those kids, like I remember being young, fan of Sonic, trying to dream up new characters, drawing them on pieces of computer paper and stacking them up. I
Oh
did all
yeah.
that kinds of stuff like that. And if I was in a world that it wasn't just a piece of paper and a pencil that allowed me to express that, and I was able to like create like a character in a VR game, or like like go into like a tilt brush and draw it in real life, or
Yeah.
maybe make a costume of my own, maybe that expression would have followed a new path. Some of these people are products of a world that has provided tools that we've never had at our disposal before, tools for expression that we've never had at our disposal before.
Yeah, that's very
So
true.
it's really it's, to me, it's evidence of like people not being afraid, right? Like
Oh
embracing
yeah.
who they are and being willing to express themselves in the most pure way that they can,
And I think being
and
able to
not giving a
connect with
shit.
other people who are trying to do the same helps a lot. Because, like,
Right.
I think the internet was the first moment where that barrier was broken. When you had people being able to connect on like forums and things like that and be like, oh, I'm not the only person who likes, X, Y, or Z, and they join a forum. But then when you can actually make friends with somebody and hang out with them and see them, it's like, oh, these aren't just people writing in forums. They're actual real people who I can talk to and hang out with. And, it
Yep.
completes that circle.
And they give me an affirmation that I'm not a fucking weirdo, right?
Yeah.
Like my parents are concerned about all of my drawings of custom Sonic characters, but meanwhile there's a whole community of people out there who totally get it, and they've been doing the same thing this whole time. Like boom, that's your new family, right? People who are
Yeah,
willing to accept
exactly.
you for who you are. It's like the ICP juggalos mentality there, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like you like reject me for putting clown face on my paint, but here or clown paint on my face, but here's a whole community of people who love me and embrace me, and all I have to do is put some fucking diamonds on my eyes. Like I'm there, dude. Like let's go party and hang out and drink Fago.
Let's go drink some Fago.
You feel me?
Yes. Yeah, McNastra, obviously, yeah, yeah. Always be responsible about who you hang out with. That's my public notice there.
Yeah. Hey, that's a loving family, man.
Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
if you're just trying to find people with similar interests to, you know, engage in those interests with, it's a really good way to not be as afraid of talking to people, I think.
Yep. Yep. It's gonna be an interesting landscape to navigate, right? It already is.
Well,
You
yeah.
have the people from these kinds of communities receiving backlash from those who don't understand what's happening, or they get shunned by their
Hmm.
peers because they want to dress up like a fox or something, like I don't know, man. It's already choppy waters, but I am optimistic. I really do feel like we will have no choice but to kind of wake up to some of the realities of these things after we see it play out a bunch of times. And
Yep,
I'm optimistic. I think things are going to be good.
I'm with you on that, man. VR family, best community ever, says rendered reality. You know it. You know it.
Amen.
The family that
Amen.
murders people in population one together stays together. That's what I say.
Dude, the family that kills the Elven Queen together. All right. That's going to be us.
That's gonna be. I'm ready for it. The Elden Queen. When the Elden Queen sees these fish, she's gonna say, "That guy better have some hidden power. He looks weak, but I do."
You will. You will.
I
You'll have the
will.
card.
I hope you know I'm terrible at most games. That's what makes me
I
fun
hope
to
you
play
know
with.
I'll be speaking over you and telling you what to do the whole time.
That's good. I need it.
Good.
Like when I first got into Overwatch, man, I played with a guy who was like professional at it, and he was upset all the time because it's just like it takes me a little
Do you
ramp
hear
up
this
time.
music?
Yeah, I do.
I think my phone just like started randomly playing music.
I did. I thought that was your mantra music.
Yeah,
You
like oh
play it to
yeah, like
soothe
I just wanted
yourself.
to. I just is it cool if we just vibe on this for a while? Like I'm just gonna play some
Yeah.
music. You're kind
Every
of starting to bore me a little bit.
I've got my chimes. Every half hour, he starts playing chimes in the background. Light the incense. Fist of the Obscure Nerd. Dude, Fist of the North Star. Side note before Alex comes back. Big
Okay.
classic. Check it out.
Hey, sorry about that.
There we go. No, I like the music. It took me to a place.
I wish I would have left it on.
Which, by the way, you know what that reminded me of? Old VR experience. You ever play the ayahuasca VR?
I have not actually,
That was
but
wild.
dude, Skiva made a video on that, right? Like he
Yeah,
played the
yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing and videotaped it or videotaped it. Oh my God,
He
how old am
videotaped it
I?
with his recorder.
Fuck, okay, I'm old. Okay, you guys caught me. How do you do, fellow kids?
He used his Nokia.
Videotaping things today. So anyway, he made a video for the ayahuasca thing, and like a couple days later, Joe Rogan talked about ayahuasca, the VR experience on his podcast, and it like flooded his video. And now he has like it's like his channel has a bunch of just like videos with like a couple dozen views, 100 views
Yeah,
here, and then the ayahuasca video is like sitting at like probably getting closer to 100K now. It's like
that's wild. I
tons and tons of
I
views on it.
love that experience. I did a video on that a while ago too, but it was like years after it came out, I think. That one was a weird was cool because it's like I could see that being a whole line. And actually, I just saw another VR experience get either announced or released on Steam, which was for people who have like learning disabilities. Where it was like, the VR game is supposed to be like you in a classroom experience the world as if you had some of these disabilities. So like, it would be harder to read. And it's supposed to make you realize and sort of see that the
Mm,
world can look and feel totally different depending on the lens you look through it. I'm
mm.
explaining it poorly, but the ayahuasca experience in a very different way, I think, is doing that same sort of thing where it's like, this is an experience that you don't have to go through, but we want you to have the opportunity to see what it's like. And you can
I
use VR to
think
visualize that.
I think when it comes to hallucinogenics, it's pretty much impossible to recreate that
Well, yeah.
experience with any kind of visual or audio stimulus.
One to one, yeah.
But but I when you were talking about like this like compassion training with
Yeah,
learning disability, it kind of was reminded me of like the police training thing. Like I think that the police training is
that's
kind of a
big.
really good application of this. Like a door opens and somebody like comes running up to it really quick. It's like how fast do you pull your gun out and shoot them? And
Yes,
like can
yeah,
you
like
like
situational training in general.
right. Yeah, like really provides that sense of presence. So I think, for things like that, for this compassion training, all this kind of stuff, VR is a huge opportunity.
Hmm.
I think that's awesome. Ayahuasca thing, probably cool. But definitely I don't it's not going to teach you what the
It's not
secrets of
it's
the
not going to be
universe.
one to one, yeah.
Yeah, and, ayahuasca will like change your fucking life, like this won't.
Someone
But
said
I
the general visuals were cool, the narrations and the human models were emerging. Yeah, it was kind of weird that they had a guy just sort of chanting in the background the whole time. That was the
well,
one.
that's because there's probably what's happening. It's probably what they do.
Yeah,
But
I mean, I guess they were trying to capture the
you're not
ceremony.
really hearing, I'm sure you're not really hearing that when you're laying there convulsing on the floor of a hut in the middle of the jungle,
I will
like
say I missed out on the vomiting for hours and having flashbacks to my childhood part of it.
yeah,
I was
that's
bummed
an
about that.
integral part. It's an integral part of it.
It was more just snakes
Um,
and sounds, but it was cool.
where I see more of an opportunity in this realm is with stuff kind of like sound self. You ever see that one?
Tell me
Sound
about it.
self. It's what do they call it? Like an audio delic or some shit like that.
Ooh,
And it's a bunch of visuals, right? Trippy visuals that are like procedurally generated based on the audio input of your microphone. And you're
that's
supposed to like
interesting.
sit down and like uh,
Oh, it
uh,
visualizes your own audio.
and it reverberates your audio into your own ears and like get something like that
Wow.
going. And that is a way to enter a meditative state relatively quickly,
That sounds
So
fascinating.
I think that's a good. I see opportunity for stuff like that. But when it comes to like, hey, play this game and experience what it's like to be on mushrooms, or hey, play this game,
Yeah.
experience what it's like to be on LSD, that will I don't think it'll ever happen. Like
Well,
it's
yeah, it'll never be able to truly capture it.
no.
It's sort of like giving you an idea of what it might look like.
Mm-hmm.
Sound stuff
Mm-hmm.
sounds interesting.
It is cool. I recorded myself doing it, and then I was like, "Oh yeah, I am not uploading this."
Yeah.
You know?
Maybe I should do
Like
that. If
I'm
it's
like
awkward
trembling
and
in and out of key because my voice is just getting shot because I'm in like 25 minutes deep now, just like, uh,
I'm gonna do a sound self video now where it's me rapping and trying to meditate to the sounds of it.
rapping. Oh man, we would end up watching like a full like metamorphosis before our eyes.
You'd watch me lose myself. I become the virtual
Yep,
self.
yep, that's exactly it.
This is a philosophy podcast.
Yeah, I have a hard time avoiding it, you know.
Yeah, I went to a Jesuit school. We did a lot of philosophy. It just comes out sometimes.
Yeah, man, it's it helps when you're talking about stuff that you really like, you know, like when it hits close to home,
Yeah,
it's easy to like draw relationships to other things, you know, and you can slowly start to peel off layers, and before you know it, you're talking about the nature of existence.
yep. That's my ideal day. By the way, shout out. I just found the name of this game I was talking about. Immersive. IMERCYVE. It's about living with intellectual disabilities. Actually looks really interesting. Um, yeah, basically just trying to visualize like a lot of the things that other people actually experience and see because of, whatever disability may be.
I think
Um,
that's great. I think that's great. I have some other things in this realm that I plan on going into on our show between realities sometimes, but sometime soon. But
nice.
they're kind of controversial, so I'm like trying to think about a
Yeah,
way to
it's
approach it that's not going to get me in trouble.
yeah, that's the tough thing. And since it's all emerging, it's interesting because no one really knows what the overall result will be from these new sort of immersive experiences that people are trying to use to educate and to further. No one really knows what'll become of it
Right. Right, because
ultimately.
it can become hard, you know, because expression, you know, in that kind of thing should be fine so long as like no one's getting hurt, right? Like,
Exactly.
you know, you're playing blade and sorcery and you're like impaling your fourth head on a pike,
Yeah.
and that's fine, you know, but is there a limit, right? Like, are there
Yeah.
things that are so morally incorrect that they shouldn't even exist in VR form, you know? And how do we draw those kinds of lines? That's a conversation I want to have soon.
Yeah. That's that's a big conversation. A lot of people in VR chat are having that conversation today.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they're as they're trying to convince each other that what's about to
That's
go down is the safe thing.
yeah, that's still my most controversial video is one of the first ones I did. I interviewed a guy in VR chat who right at the beginning of the pandemic was making ends meet by being a escort in VR chat,
Hmm.
which was really interesting and really really don't know where I stand on it.
I
Um,
mean, I imagine that would be pretty affordable, right?
yeah,
Because I mean, if it's much more expensive than not nothing, then why wouldn't someone go out and buy a real escort?
that's what
You
I'm
know what I
thinking.
mean?
And that's what it seemed like was that there's this corner of people because it seemed like based on what he said was that it's basically for people who have fantasies that they want to play out in the virtual reality that they're not comfortable playing out with a real person.
Hmm.
But they want that person there just not in real reality. So it's like a place for people to express these like fantasies that they have that they're just not comfortable expressing in real
That
reality. So it's
that
a
makes perfect sense.
yeah,
That
it's
makes
a whole
perfect sense.
nother discussion there.
Yeah, Aspen Darkfire, our guest on the show yesterday, came on as an avatar,
Yeah, I
and
saw that.
that's kind of why we talked about it. And he said that he feels like that version of himself better represents who he is in this space than if he was to come on just like as him. You know, he said
That's really interesting.
he felt like he's better representing who he is in the VR space by coming on as the avatar.
Yeah, because at some point you know it's an identifier for who you are within VR.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yep, this is all super, super interesting stuff, man. And I'm really excited that we will be here navigating the treacherous waters of the virtual world together for years to come.
Many years to come, man.
It's exciting.
Yep, we are. This is me navigating the waters.
I can tell. Yeah, I
Just
was
wait till
there.
the hand tracking's there. This will look great.
Dude, it looks amazing.
I will say they just side note they just updated. This is always my test I do with hand tracking is putting your hands together because it's the hardest thing for it to capture. Is like the second the hands touch, the tracking goes haywire because I can't figure out where the
Hmm.
ends and beginnings are. And the newest update of the VR hand physics lab on SideQuest blew me out of the water. Side note to
Really.
end us on, yeah, the because I've been doing that. Like my first big video was with that app probably like 6 months ago, and the tracking was really cool then, but it was still had a lot of room to grow. And this newest update, it's almost 1 to 1. I mean, you can move your hands fast, you can articulate.
Wow.
It's really
Dog.
getting there. It's pretty mind blowing.
That sounds good. The only thing that's missing is haptics. Seriously, like when
Yeah,
I'm interacting with something with my hands in the virtual space and there's no haptic feedback for anything that's happening,
yeah.
it's hugely immersion breaking for me, and I
Side
would pretty
note,
much always grab a controller.
did you see the haptic feedback the haptic feedback glove that they're working on? I don't know who's developing it.
There's a young kid who's putting together something just like using like
Yeah,
household items.
I saw one where it was like they had little robot fingers essentially attached to the ends of the gloves. So when you touch something, it basically pulls your finger back. So instead of the
Hmm.
haptic pushing onto your finger, it just pulls it back every time it hits a surface. Yeah.
Force feedback.
Yeah, I think that could be a if they could integrate that with finger tracking, I think that would be the way to
That would
go.
be huge. That would be huge because then when you pick up an apple off the table, it feels like there's something in your hand.
Yeah, and it acts back upon it.
Yeah. And then when I let go of it, I can feel the tension release, right?
Yeah.
So that would be huge when it comes to interacting with objects in VR. And I think it would be epic for stuff like weapons, right? Like grip a weapon and then you just like
Oh,
keep a
yeah.
nice like soft grip on it and it just like doesn't close all the way and you're like, "Yep, there's my weapon."
Yeah. Oh, and imagine when it's so fine-tuned because I know it'll be there eventually where you can even flip things over within your hands, you know? You'd be able to feel it, sort of loosen your grip just a little bit to flip something
Mhm.
around or
Or
play
if
with
it's like a
something in your
baseball
finger.
bat, this side is wider and this side is thinner, so you like
Yeah,
grab the thick end and then when you flip it around, it's much thinner on yeah.
man, I can't wait till that day.
It's coming, dude. And like I said, we're here for it. So just I don't know, let's enjoy the ride, brother.
Oh, I'm ready to enjoy the ride. Big shout out to everyone in the chat as well who joined us. Aiden, Oppo, Thomas McNostril, Rendered Reality, Skiva, German Rifter. We love everybody. Where can everybody find you before we head out on our virtual
I
voyage?
Yeah, dude. Thanks again, man, for having me. I'm really glad that we had the opportunity to do stuff like this. I love conversations like this. I love like the intimate connection that we're able to make in the community amongst us passionate VR folks. And
Yeah,
I feel lucky to be here. So thank you.
I do too.
I am on YouTube. I have the Between Realities podcast that I co-host with Skiva. It's Between Realities on YouTube. I also have an Alex VR YouTube channel, which, I guess we'll see what happens with the future of it. It's uncertain, right? There's a little bit of mystery
Really?
surrounding the OG Alex VR
Mm.
channel. I'm not exactly sure which direction it's going to go, so we'll find out about that in the future. I'm active on Twitter. At Alex with a bunch of underscores and then VR because Alex VR is such a fucking generic name. It's impossible to get just Alex VR on any platform. So I'm typically forced to find some kind of stupid way to arrange my name and the word VR together in order for it to work.
That's how they get you.
So Twitter, yep. You can find me on Discord in a bunch of servers. Join the BHaptics Discord. Check out the BHaptics YouTube channel too. I actually have done a shitload of videos for BHaptics
Yeah, those
on
videos are awesome. Everyone go check those out.
yeah, and that's it. Thanks, guys, and hit me up if you want to play some games. We should play some Demio as
I see
soon
Rendered
as possible.
Reality. Let's get a group Discord message going. Let's get in Demio tonight.
Let's go. I'm ready.
Let's do it. Thank you guys again. We love you all. Next week I'll be back with another guest. Who will it be? We'll both find out then. Until next time, let me play us out. Much love to Alex VR and to everyone here.
Thanks,
Happy
Zane.
Saturday.